Sefer Yehoshua on Kapitel Hey, Posuk Yud. We learned about Klal Yisrael crossing the Yarden. They go into Eretz Yisrael. This is on Yud. It says, unfortunately, the Posuk also the Chodesh. They go into Eretz Yisrael and they do the Bris Milah. They do the Bris Milah after they've done the Bris Milah and Posuk Tes. Vayomer Hashem el Yehoshua. And this is after they've done the Bris Milah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Yehoshua, Hayoim galoisi es cherpas Mitzrayim me'aleichem, vayikro shem hamokoim, ahu Gilgol ad hayoim azeh. And that's Vayachanu bnei Yisrael bagilgol, pasuk Yud, Vayachanu bnei Yisrael bagilgol, Vayasu es haPesach be'arbo osor yoim lechodesh, be'arbois Yerichoi, be'arbois Yerichoi. So as we said last week, we said Rashi. Rashi tells us there's two pshatim over here, Rashi says. Ayom Hashem Yehoshua, Ayom Galoisi es cherpas Mitzrayim aleichem. What does cherpas Mitzrayim? So Rashi explains Hasiroisi. What's the Hasiroisi? So Rashi explains us that this is Kemoi, what we say, right? Galoisi cherpas Mitzrayim, and Hasiroisi cherpas Mitzrayim. So Rashi says that this is what we find. Hasiroisi es cherpas Mitzrayim. Sheyoimrim ro kiro neget peneichem. Koichov echod yesh shmoi ro or simen shel dam. Roino noise alechem b'midbar. Hu she'omar Moshe b'midbar, lo mo yoimu Mitzrayim lo imoy bero oitzion. Ve'imo ino yodi shu dam milah. When Klal Yisrael left Mitzrayim, the Mitzrayim say, "Oh, they're going to die in the midbar," right? Because they saw in the astrology, right, astrologia, they saw that it's going to be dam, and there's a raw. That means a certain koichel is called raw, and when they were mal in the times of Yehoshua, that was the dam. That was the dam. Who saw oiso cherpo, says the Rashi, she'adayin ein rav she'olu imo yiboyilon. Kach torash v'Moshe adarsha. Now Rashi means galoisi. Another pshat says Rashi, kemoi gal olai cherpo, and what we learned the past Shavua says Rashi gal me olai cherpo and vayogel eso even. So when we say the pasuk galoisi es cherpas Mitzrayim is vayigal eso even. But derech klal, when we learn the lashon of gilui, what is gilui? Gilui means like revealing something. Right? You're revealing. Vayigal eso even. He revealed now the well. He removed the even, and this is for sure not what's the pshat over here. You can't say that cherpas Mitzrayim is a gilui of cherpas Mitzrayim by removing the thing. Just fakir. It was removed. The gilui over here, galoi sivis, was removed. The cherpas Mitzrayim was removed, and that's a lashon of hasore, not a lashon of isgalus. Isgalus is an outcome of the removing of the asoras acherpe, that is the orle, and alidei the gilui of the something that is covered, you see something that's underneath it, like vayigal esoimen, by removing it. Right? And that's what you see two pshatim in Rashi. So first pshat in Rashi, Hasiroisi es cherpas Mitzrayim, says Rashi, this is Ra'u kiro neged peneichem, right? There's one dam. And another pshat we see in the Radak. The Radak explains, Lefi, sheyotzu o ovois Mitzrayim, v'oyu abonim areilim, k'moy ha-Mitzrayim. When they went out of Mitzrayim, they were areilim. They were like orle. And the orle is a cherpa. It says over there in the Pasuk, ki chorpo, right? Ki cherpo hi lanu. It's in the Pasuk, right? It's Pasuk Shavua about the milah of Shem. Feed them. The orle itself is called a cherpa. The orle itself is called a cherpa. We have to explain what it's called. The way cherpas orle is on the Mitzrayim, right? The areilim, like we got the areilim. If someone, the Gemara says in the Dorim, if someone is mudar me'areilim, what it means? The goyim. That the helper is the talking about the areilim. There's a very interesting what we find the Beis Halevi, right? The Beis Halevi says in many places that ala Torah, Pashas Lech Lecho, he says that in the Milah we have two parts. We have the part of what's called Hasoras Ha'erole, and there is the part what's called the Priya. Hasoras Ha'erole, this is both done in many Mefarshim. Hasoras Ha'erole is to remove the foreskin, is to remove the tumor. The Priya is to bring him into Kedushas Yisrael. There's two parts of the Milah. There's the Milah to remove him from the tumor, from the Orle, and there is the Sur Meira, the Oile Ephraim says, the Sur Meira part, and there's the Asay Toiv of bringing him in. The Priya is bringing him in the Asay Toiv. Right? So, to be Miskad in Kedushas Yisrael, that is the Priya. To feed them. If we explain over here that Yehoshua done a bris milah, very good. hasoras hacherpa is removing the ole, removing the cherpa, removing the not nice thing, the ole. But if you can say, as we spoke last week, that the many Rishonim say that this is only the priya what was done then, so what's hasoras hacherpa? In the pasuk we say that what it was, right? If it was only a priya, why it's called Cherpas Mitzrayim? Cherpas Mitzrayim should be only Cherpas Mitzrayim. So if we explain like the first Shach and Rashi, Rou Kiro Neged Peneichem, and they don't know that this is a dam, they had a mistake that they thought it's dam of Harige, and Be'emes the dam was not the dam Harige, it was the dam Mile. Right? Olecho Raglu Kol Hayoyim, the dam Mile, as the Gemara says. Be'emes it was not dam Harige, it was dam Mile. Over the Rashi and Pashas Boy on the pasuk Reu Kiro Neged Peneichem, and the Yalkut also over here. The Yalkut is over here. The Yalkut says Be'emes there was over there a similar dam harige. Because what? HaKadosh Baruch Hu nicham Hashem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu had charote on the bad thing and he changed the dam harige into dam mile, and that's what Yehoshua saved them. The Targum on this pasuk Ayoim Galois Yistabas Mitzrayim Aleichem. I found a very interesting Targum. Talking now pasuk Shavua on the pasuk Vateled Ben Toimer Osaf Elokim Escherposi. Rachel had a child, called him Yosef, and why he was called Yosef? Osaf Hashem Escherposi. Says the Targum Yonasan. Knash Hashem Yas Chasdoin. Ve Hichadin. What's that? Osid, says the Targum. Osid Yehoshua Brei de Yosef, the grandson of Yosef. Lemichnoish Yas Chasude. The Mitzrayim me'al penei Yisrael, to remove the cherpe, Osaf Hashem Escherposi. Who's the Osaf Hashem Escherposi? The Einikol of Yehoshua. Sorry, the Einikol of Yosef. This is Yehoshua. Will Osaf Hashem Escherposi? He will collect the cherpe of Mitzrayim. Ulemigzar Yasoy me'abre de Yardane. It means when this will happen, when they will cross the Yarden. They state in Targum Yonasan in our parasha about Osaf Hashem Escherposi. So we see that the koyach of Yehoshua to remove the cherpas Yisrael, to remove the cherpa from Mitzrayim is because he comes from Yosef, and Yosef was Macy removed the cherpa from Rachel with his birth, and that was the first of Yosef to remove the cherpa more than others. And Yehoshua had this; he inherited this koyach from his great grandfather from Yosef. It came from Shevet Ephraim. Yehoshua came from Shevet Ephraim. That's yes. Says the pasuk. Vayachanu bnei Yisrael bagilgol, vayasu es haPesach b'arba asar yom lachodesh bo'erev be'arba yisrael. Bo'erev means in that evening, why not? Bo'erev of the erev of thing. That's the thing. But the Gilgol, what's the Gilgol? Gilgol, stop, I had a question. What's the Gilgol? The Gilgol is what? Because on the Galoisi, that's what it's called the Gilgol. Why was it called Gilgol? Because the Galoisi, the Lashon Galoisi, even it's not really Galoisi, because, right, Gal, it's not Gilgol. So the Mitzuda says, no, the Mitzuda says that's what the Mitzuda says, but the Galoisi is Mitzad the Galoisi. Galoisi, Lashon Gilgol. Gilgol, Sibuv, right? It means the Gil, you're removing something. It's not, it's a little bit schwer. Gilgol. What's the double Lashon? Gilgol. Gal. Gal. What's a Gilgol? After Chatzois. Galoisim, Lashon Gilgol V'Sivuv. As I doctor. Galoisim, Lashon Gilgol V'Sivuv. Yeah. Okay. Bnei Yisrael in the Gilgol, and they do the Pesach, right? So as says the Boer V'Achar Chatzois Hayoy Koru Erev, says the Metzudas, Ki Oz No Yitechamo LeBeis Ma'arov. This is a Gemara. The Gemara is Vochim Kuf Yud Ches Om Medalot. The Gemara says, right? We learned the pasuk. Vayachanu bnei Yisrael bagilgol, vayasu es haPesach ba'arba asar yoim lachodesh bo'erev ba'arba chilul. Says the Gemara. Rab Shimon Omer, Af tzivu lo yikrivu elo psochim v'choyvei shekavu lo zman. Means done. They were makiv korbanos, but only korbanos was kavu lo zman. Like Pesach. Pesach is a korban tzivu. Why? Because everyone comes together, and that's a kavu lo zman. We know it's a zman kavua Yud Daled Nisan. Says the Gemara, what's the reason of Rab Shimon? Because it says Vayasu bnei Yisrael es haPesach begilgol. Now it's not mentioned, right? It's not mentioned in the pasuk that they done the Pesach begilgol. So it could be that just Vayachanu bnei Yisrael begilgol. Doesn't say they done. Could be very much that what They were set the camp in Gilgal, Vayachanu b'nei Yisrael b'Gilgal, and from there they walked to Yerushalayim to be making the Korban Pesach. Which is the Gemara means, because it says in the pasuk Vayasu Pesach, and then it says Be'arvois Yerichoi. And after became the Gemara says that Keilu they done it where? Keilu they done it in the Gilgal. They done the Pesach in the Gilgal. Says the Gemara Pshita. For sure that. Says the Gemara Elo Hoko Mashwalom. Chidush is the Choivo is Kein Pesach who the Korev. Olav Kein Pesach lo Korev. That means be'emes they were part of Minadin. They were part of the Korban Pesach. What they were making Korban Pesach now, and also the Pesach in the Gilgal before they came into Israel, it was only Oyron Ashor. What's the reason for this Oyron Ashor? So the Meshech Chochmah explains because the Ikar mitzvah of Pesach was to be mafrish themselves from Avodah Zorah. State in the pasuk Mishchu K'chu Lochem, Mishchu Yedeichem Avodah Zorah, U'K'chu Lochem. It's a Pesach, and this is only because the Pesach. What the Pesach is? The Pesach comes to show us on Shgocha Protis, Shgocha Samokoim, on the Prat, on Schar ve'Oynesh, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu skipped the Klal al Posach, al Botei Bnei Yisrael, was Mr. Mitzrayim, was Botei Nu Itzil, and this is Pum Paket from Avodah Zorah. That's the reason, in the times of Yehoshua, after Yehoshua was Metayr, the Beis HaMikdash, right? He's Metayr Yehuda and Yerushalayim as we learned in the end of Melochim. He's Metayr Yerushalayim and Yehuda from all of the Asheris, from the Asherim. It stated over there that he done a Pesach LaHashem. What means done a Pesach LaHashem, right? We learned it in Melochim, in the end of Melochim, Melochim based of Gimel, Mamash at the end. That's what, after they done, Talisol done the Egel, HaKadosh Baruch Hu commands them in the second year to do a Korban Pesach. The same thing also in the 40th year. Where are we talking about the 30th year when they come into Mitzrayim? What's talking about? They coming into Gilgal to be metaken, as we spoke many times at the Al-Shif, to be metaken the Baal Peor. They just came now from where? They came from Ovel Hashitim. Ovel Hashitim, what they done in Ovel Hashitim? The Baal Peor. So after they done Avodah Zorah, they have to come back to Remishu Lochem min Avodah Zorah u'K'chu Lochem Pesach. They have to remove themselves from Avodah Zorah and take the Pesach. And now also, before the Kibush HaChiluk, they didn't have a Chiluk. Like Gabi Pesach Sheni, if it's, you can be marking with a bomb or not, it's another shaila. But that's the pshat in the Gemara. Okay. Veido, says the Gemara, Lefido the Bandoma. Miboile, like the Rabbi Yochanan, what Rabbi Yochanan says, Doma Rabbi Yochanan Mishur Rabbenoi, Orel Mekabel Azoy. What means Orel Mekabel Azoy? Means Azoy. Fi Rabbonon, we have to say that the Pesach, we don't have to say the Pesach. Why we don't have to say the Pesach? Because there's a chashash, it's a chidush. The chidush, the oral, they were maz on him, becomes Torah for Tumas Mes, because it's much when they done the Pesach in the Gilgal, with all the halachas, Bemile, Betare, with all of things. When they were mal themselves, Yud Aleph Nisan. The Azoy from Tumas Mes, when was it? It was still Tumas Mes. Tumas Mes needs Azoy, Shlishi Veshvi. So they were still Areilim. When they done the Tumas Mes, that means they have to start beforehand, right? Because you need 3 and 7. So when they done the Hazoy, they actually were still Areilim. They still had they didn't have yet the Bris Milah. Because you need Hazoy Yoim Shlishi and Yoim Shvi. So the difference between the Hazoy to the Hazoy is 3 days. And if the Hazoy, the first Hazoy wasn't Yud Aleph Nisan, they couldn't do the second Hazoy before, right? Tes Vav Nisan. In the Pesach, you have to be marking when? Yud Aleph Nisan. Must be that's what the Gemara says, Ve'idof. That means they learn that Orel Mekabel Hazoy. They done the Hazoy of the Dam, they done before they done the Bris Milah. Says the boss, Vayichlu me'avoy ro'oretz mimochas HaPesach, Vayichlu me'avoy ro'oretz mimochas HaPesach, matzois ve'kolui be'etzem hayoim hazeh. What is this mimochas HaPesach? So this is a big Gemara. You know, many places. The Gemara says, me'avoy HaPesach, the Gemara Rosh Hashanah and Daf Gimel, the Gemara in Kiddushin and Daf Lamed Zayin on the base, and Rashi brings it down. If you look at Rashi, Rashi tells us, Yoim Hanofas Oimer, that's the Tezayin, right? Shikrivu Oimer, Tchilo, first of all, Makiv Oimer. Now, Mi Zayin Be'ador Shemes, Zayin Ador, Moshe Rabbeinu died, Tosakamon, there's no mon anymore. How you mistapkin till when? Ad Achshom Mimon Shebe, Kileyen, Sheloktu Besho, Betish Shivo Be'ador. Sheneemar, Esamon Ochlu Arboim Shono, Ve'aloim Mem Shono Chosa Shloishim Yoim. Why? Sharitchilas Yeridas Haman. When it started to go down the man, Tes Vov Iyo. And more Me'ato, also it's the same time, Tomuta Man. He still had man left till when? till Tes Vov Nisan, and then they tasted the man still wherever they put inside the kelim. Wherever they put into the kelim, they actually still had a tama. So now there's a few questions over here, is Rabbi Cohen just mentioned, and this is a big question what we have many things. So we learned over here, what does this mean, Mochas HaPesach? This is a very interesting passage. Vayochlu me'avur ha'oretz Mochas HaPesach, matzois, ve'kolui, be'etzem, the kolui is called kolui ve'kamel, be'etzem hayoyim hazeh. So Rashi explains, as we just saw Rashi inside, yoyim hanofas ha'oimer, she'ikrivu oimer tchila. And this is the feed the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah Daf Yud Gimel Amud Aleph. The Gemara says, "Mimochas haPesach echoil meikore lo yochol aktiv oimer bod harachle." You can't eat. They came at Eretz Yisrael. There's a din of chodosh. Anything that grew before there's Vov or Nisan, you can't eat till you're makriv the oimer. Correct? Toisves b'shem the Ibn Ezra. The Ibn Ezra, and the Ibn Ezra is more down in Vayikra. Ibn Ezra fact as well. Mimochas haPesach. What is Mimochas haPesach? Tes Vov Nisan, right? Pesach is Yudalet. Mimochas haPesach is Tes Vov Nisan. That's the Mochas. Why it's called Mochas haPesach? Because it's Mochas Shchitas haPesach. Yeah, it's Mochas haPesach. It's talking about when you shech the Korban Pesach. The Korban Pesach you shech at Yudalet. Mimochas, the day later, is Tes Vov Nisan. Let's talk about Tes Vov Nisan. Steht in Parshas Masei. Mimochas haPesach Yotzu Bnei Yisrael Beyad Roma. What is Mimochas haPesach Yotzu Bnei Yisrael Beyad Roma when Tezayin? No, that was Tes Vov. So Frag the Ibn Ezra, Mimochas haPesach means Tes Vov Nisan. So what's the problem, right? And to Zem Rabbeinu Tam, the Ibn Ezra, and over here the pasuk says, "Vayochlu me'avur ha'oretz Mimochas haPesach." That means from the Yoshon, from the Matzos, the Kolui. That means from the Chodosh. That's be'etzem hayoyim hazeh. That is Tes Zayin or Makriv Oimer, and only then they ate. That's the Rashi according to the Gemara. We're talking. The Radak explains over here a little bit different. He says, what is Mimochas haPesach? Mimochas haPesach is Leil Chamish also Benison Veyoyim. Because the Pesach, we're marking the Pesach at Yudalit, and the next day is the 15th of Nisan. And he brings a raya for the Pasuk. What Pasuk? It says, B'chamish also Yoyim Lachodesh Harishon B'mochas haPesach Yotzu Bnei Yisrael. And explains that what they ate the Yoshon, the matzah, the koli, when was it? Me'avoir oretz. Why it's called avoir? Avoir is a dogon, because the avoir means from shonim she'ovu, from the previous years. They didn't eat it from now. They ate the old ones. The next year is called Tivur, because the Chodosh was also till the Makiv Doimer and the 16th of Nisan. The Gemara says, it's a medrash, Vayikol Rabbe. The medrash says, Le'oilom al te'im mitzvah oimer kalo beinecho. שעל ידי מיצס האוימר, זוכו אברום לירש אס ארץ כנען. אז זה steht in the Vayikol Rabbe. The medrash it says in Vayikol Rabbe, בזכות the oimer, אברום אבינו, על תהי מיצס אוימר קל בעיניך, בזכות the mitzvah of oimer, אברום אבינו was זוכה to inherit the land. With the pasuk, it brings the pasuk, ונוסעתי לכל לזרעך אחריך. What's the נסעתי אחריך? Says the medrash, על מנס. Why? Venosati lechol lezarach acharecho. Be'ato is Brishit Tishmoil. What is the Brishit Tishmoil? What is it? Says the Medrash. What is the Tishmoil? What do you have to guard? Ve'izeh mitzvah so'oimer. As I state in Medrash. With the oimer. I wanted the other one, right? And also we have to explain what is the connection between that Yehoshua Seretz Canaan, Davke by Mitzvah Oimer. What's this? We find us over here. They came at Eretz Yisrael. The first mitzvah, the first thing what we see, they came at Eretz Yisrael. What they done? Oimer. What is the Oimer? What is the connection of the Oimer with Eretz Yisrael that ain't with Bris Milah? Straight away, we find over here. They came at Eretz Yisrael. They done which mitzvah? Bris Milah with Oimer. Avram Avinu stated in the Medrash. What he done? Bris Milah, Oimer together, mixed together, and that's why he saw it to Bris Tishma. There is a connection. What is the connection? The Be'er Moshe, on over here in the beginning of the Perek, he says, Eretz Yisrael is Eretz Canaan. Why Eretz Yisrael is Eretz Canaan? We spoke many times because it's the Loshen Achnoi. That's why it's called Eretz Canaan. Miloshen Achnoi. Someone who is living in Eretz Yisrael has to always be Be'achnoi. Mile, what is Mile? Mile is also Achnoi. Right? We have the Orla of the Levavchem, that's the Achnoi. Because if there is even though there is a Sakone, a person is Machnia himself in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Medrash, and he's Machnia himself in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he's Mekayim the Tivu Hashem. And that's why straight away, when they came in Eretz Yisrael, they had to be Mekayim, which mitzvah? The mitzvah Samila. That they are machnia themselves. We came into Eretz Canaan, and we're coming and showing that also in our goof, also in our body, we machnia ourselves. And that's the pshat. They explains, it says in the Pasuk, Vahi Kishmoya, Kol Malchei Moiri, what we learned before, Kol Malchei Moiri, Kol Malchei, V'chol Malchei HaKnaani, Va'imas Levavom, Ve'lo Yehoyo Bom Oidruach, Mipenei Bnei Yisrael. That's what we learned in the Psukim earlier. And that was Mipenei Bnei Yisrael. Israel is a higher madrega. And that's why Bo'ei Sa'i Omar Hashem El Yehoshua Asei Lecho Chal V'Suri V'Shur Moil is Bnei Yisrael Shemis. Now, Dafka now, when they're in a matter of Israel, a matter of Achnoi, now you should do it. The Oimer also comes in as the same idea. The Oimer is the Be'er Moshe says, Inyan Shel Isma'atus B'Shas Gedula. When a person is great, you come and you remind yourself. Dafka. At this time, when the crop, the tvua, is going up and it's growing, there's a person can come and say, the Rashbam says about Sukkot, that's how you come in. The person is megale. Now, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he's the one who, he's the one. And that's the pshat. By mitzvah so'imer, dafku in mitzvah so'imer, Avraham Avinu was zoichet Yashul, which Eretz? Eretz Canaan. By this midah of Ismatus, Achnoe, dafka in a matzah, when a person is great, a matzah of Gdula, a person thinks, hey, I fertilize the karka, I might come and harvest a bit more or a bit less. Dafka now, we come and show that Eretz Yisrael is Dafka, as we said, meekness, V'Achnoe. That's the connection between Bris Milah is Achnoe, Mitzvah Soimer is also the Achnoe. And the teachers that a person is learning comes to the Achnoe, Dafka when it's not going to have to be Achnoe when the person is low. Dafka when the person is high, then is a person is Machni himself. As the Gemara says in Chulin Daf, right? Omar HaKadosh Baruch Hu L'Yisrael. When is that? When HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants Klal Yisrael? שאפילו בשור שאני משפיע על הרעים גדולה, אתם ממעטים עצמכם לפניי. That's what the Gemara says in Chulin, Daf Aleph. Dafka when Klal Yisrael in a higher matzav, and then they're machnia, and that's the atzlocha of Klal Yisrael when they go into Eretz Yisrael, and that's the Indian of going into Eretz Yisrael, and that's why Klal Yisrael was zoichet to Eretz Canaan and Dafka Eretz Canaan. Yeah, so that's exactly the steer, and that's the steer between the psukim. Mitzad echad sheit be'etzma yoyim hazeh, and mitzad sheni it says, and that's what you said. How could it be? And we're saying in both ways. We're saying both ways. Mitzad echad das, mitzad echad. But let's I want to be exact what the Rav Cohen asked. So we saw Rashi, we saw the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah, we saw also the Gemara in Kiddushin Daf Lamed Ches. But Zayin Adar, they had no mon anymore. Zayin Adar Moshe Rabbeinu died, they had no mon. What they would use, or you mistapki, what they would use, Ad Memochas HaPesach with the mon from what was left in the Keileim, what was left by them. Rashi al Torah, Parshas B'Shalach, Rashi says that whatever they picked that day, that boy bayim, right? That day of Zion Adol, what they picked one. Oimer Lagul Goyles. So how could they have for so long? So there's a Mechilta. Mechilta says that the Rabbi Yossi, they had the man for how many days? For 14 years. 14 years. So what's the pshat? From one oimer they had 14 years. What's the pshat? And also in Parashat B'Shalach, also we learned that if a person left over a bel man, what happened? Vayorim toiloim. You come full of worms. How could you leave it? So how they would have from the man that they have in the kelim, how they could have it that long? How they could have it that long? Where there was no worms in it? And also there's Azorah. There's Azorah not to leave from one day to the next. So how could they leave over there in Zayin Adar? They could leave from the month. So this shaila is brought down in many portions, and I saw many terutzim of it. But let's start with the teretz of the Brisker Rov. Brisker Rov in Parashat B'Shalach, he asked this question: how could they leave from the month? There's a Yisur, lo yisiru. There's a Yisur, and if they leave, there's Vayorim Toiloim. So he says that this love was not only when the man comes down. Once the man comes down, there's a Yisur of keeping it for extra days. But when the man does not come down, that's it. He says, once the man stopped, all the dinim of the man also stopped. This is part of the dinei Amon. Very interesting teretz. This is part of the dinei Amon. The man came down with lots of dinim. And part of the din of the man was Once it stopped, that's it. And he says, there was a Yehoshua. Yehoshua, Al Pi Adibu, that now you can leave. If he then, we can understand also why it was not Toiloim. Why? Because only when there's an issue of leaving Mon, that then was Toiloim. But once there's no dinim anymore, there's no Toiloim. But I saw a very interesting teretz. I hope to find it over here. Very interesting teretz. Moshe Rabbeinu died when? On Shabbos. On Shabbos. And in Shabbos, he says, the Mon came down on Friday. So this Mon you're allowed to keep. This Mon when you came on Shabbos, you're allowed to keep. And this you can keep for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, you can keep as long as you want. So that's what I saw. I can't remember the Shem Vemen. But I saw that teretz. The Pardes Yosef and Pardes Beshalach. Okay, that's a teretz. It says, Lefi the Toysim Menoches. Toysim Menoches, the Flamed Domedalef says, and Moshe Rabbeinu, when he was nifter, on Shabbos. Or on Friday. The month of Friday, you're allowed to leave for Shabbos, and once you're allowed to leave it, you're allowed to leave it also after Shabbos. And the issue of Ish al Yosef Menu ad Boiker is not said on this man what falls on Shabbos, as I sagt. Okay, stand the teretz. So the pasuk. Let's see the pasuk weiter. The psukim speak about as Vayishbois Amon Mimochras. וישבויס המון ממוחרס, ואוכלו מעבור האורץ, ולא יועיד לבני ישראל מון, ויאכלו מתבואס ארץ כנען. They ate from the תבואס ארץ כנען, they come into Eretz Yisrael, they're eating now regular תבואס ארץ כנען, בשונו ההיא. Okay, let's see what okay, there's no Rashi. No, there's Rashi. Yeah, let's see Rashi. Sorry. Let's see Rashi. So Rashi says, ולא יועיד לבני ישראל מון, לפי כך, ויאכלו בעבור האורץ, אם היו להם מן לא יהיו אוכל מן התבואה, שהמן יונח להם, משה לא אומר לתינוק, מפני מה אתה אוכל פס סויר, לפי שאין לי פס חיטי, לקח להם, אבל לא יועיד. That means the whole reason why they had the mon is only because they ate, because they didn't have mon. They have a much better, the mon was every taste they want, what they have to start now to eat other things. The Medrash Tanchuma says, the mon was b'schus Moshe. And the Raya is Teda, says the Medrash Tanchuma. שכיוון שנסתלק מוישה, מקסיב שם, ויש בו יסמון ממוחרס. The Marshon bom Metzi and Daf Pivom on the base, we said that the Mon was b'schus Avram. So the Gemara said that, right? The Gemara goes through all the things that he done for the Malachim. So the Gemara said that the man was b'schus Avram. And over here we say that the Medrash Tanchuma says that the man was b'schus Moshe. Says the Marshon, then bom Metzi, that because the schus of Avram, it was only Leshah. And what was the man continuing for 40 years, that was B'schus Moshe. And that's the pshat, because they were not Be'emes, they were not going in the beginning in the midbar they didn't have to be in the midbar for 40 years at the beginning. So the mon, when it was given to Avram Avinu, the schus of the mon was only for the time what they need to travel in the midbar till they get to the Eretz. But then, that's why they needed the schus of Avram. But once they done the chet of the Meragli, they got punished to stay in the midbar for 40 years. Now they need mon for how long? For 40 years. And that was b'schus Moshe. And now it stops. So when it stops now, it stopped b'schus Moshe. That's why the Medrash Tanchuma brings this pasuk. It brings the pasuk that what means the Ish Bois Mochos? That Moshe b'schus Moshe Rabbeinu was till now because it stopped b'schus Moshe. If that's what you learn from the Maharsha, let's say that. I learned the thing. Yeah, it's echet, yeah. Says the Chasam Sofer has a very interesting in the Chasam Sofer and Drosh, he says that Vayishbo is Hamon Mimochros, and Hamon over here is also Hamon. And we know when there was Hamon, right? It's the Vayishbo is Hamon Mimochros HaPesach, because then when he hung, that's right. So we know that the Hamon also know that's what Yom Honif is the day that for the Rishoyim, from Apollo Rishoyim, as we know also Tzli Lechem Soirim of Gidon Beyoyosh, right? And Machne, that's what the Okay. Pasuk Yud Gimel. Vayibi Yoyse Yeshua b'Yerichoi. I think it's not working, the clock over there. Yeah. So, okay. Vayi Yoyse Yeshua b'Yerichoi. Vayi Soreino. Vayar. Veine ish oimen lenegdoi v'charbo yishlufoi beyodoi. Vayelech Yeshua ilo vayim aloi. Halonu ato im letzoreinu. You're with us or you're against us? What's going on over here? Vayim aloi. Ki ani sar tzva Hashem ato bossi. Atobossi was a pshat, so we can see about the thing. Atobossi, I came now. What means I came now? Vayibo Yehoshua al ponav arzam, vayishtachnu, vayomer lo imo Adoni medaber elav. How can I help you? Vayomer tzva, sar tzova Hashem, it was a malach. The malach came. Yeshua, shalno lecho mal raglecho. Why? Ki amokim asher ato oimed olav, kodesh hu vayash Yehoshua came. Now these psukim, we just read it very fast, and now let's go to explain what these psukim. This is the very nice psukim. I mean, there's lots of what to speak of these psukim. So first of all, Vayibi Yehoshua b'Yericho. They went out every morning. They went out now to conquer Yericho. They go out every morning. They would, right? They come back before the time of Bein Arbaim. They're making the korbanos. In the morning they wake up. They daven. They're making the Tom Mishel Shachar. They go out to battle. They come back in the evening, and before the evening, Bein Arbaim, they make the korban, and then they sit the whole night and learn. Goes out Yehoshua bin Nun, and he sees Vayibi Yehoshua b'Yericho, and what b'Yericho? And it's not mamish in Yericho. Rashi says, "Mikan leiburo shel ir shehi mino ir sheyesh shalom yoter Yericho." He's not inside Yericho. He's surrounding around Yericho, and he comes this Malach Hashem, and what he's saying. So is the Medrash says, we know the Medrash Rabbe and Rus, and it's a Gemara also. Kol Mokoi Shenemar Vayi is a tzorech. Right, the Medrash Vayi V'Otzi Vayi Yehoshua. So it's a simcha, no? Says the Medrash, this is also not a simcha. Why? Because Yehoshua, as you can see later on, Korach Sim Lo Yisov, Yehoshua Sim Lo Yisov, and we don't understand because Yehoshua, why he tore down this Sim Lo Yisov? Because what happened in Milchemes Ha'ai? Because Ochon, as we can see later on, Perik Zayin, Ochon takes in the booty, and in Milchemes Ha'ai, there's no connection. And the Medrash says, why it's called Vayehi? Vayehi Yehoshua b'Yericho. Why Vayehi? Vayehi b'Lashon Tzar. Because you can see later on in Perik Zayin that Yehoshua tears off his clothes. But the reason why Yehoshua tears off his clothes has nothing to do with the Malach of Vayehi, between the Malach and thing. So they done. So the Divrei Torah, Sefer Divrei Torah, he says that the whole Nefila and I happened only because they are the Hanoga of the Sar Tzva Hashem. And Sar Tzva Hashem, he says it's a Midas Adin. So everything what happened also by Ochon, it started now because now the minhag was with the Sar, and that's the reason. That's the reason that they got punished. That's what they got punished. We know that. As we saw, the Pashtus, he sees over there, Ish V'chal Bo Yishlufa B'Yodei, right? As the Radak says. The Radak has a suffix. This is Mitzorenu, from the Knaanim, the people that live in Eretz Yisrael, or, right, because it can't be that the Novi didn't recognize, he didn't know that's the Malach Hashem. Just the Malach looked to him like Knaani. Like the Malbin, he was like, how could Yehoshua go by himself? Why didn't he send one of these people to go ask him? Why? What are you looking for? He sees a person with a sword. Go send you one of your people. That he knew that this is galus of a Malach Hashem. So what he has a suffix. You came letzorenu. You came against us. You came. Hakadosh Baruch Hu promised him. Right? Lo yarpecho v'lo yasrecha. Hakadosh Baruch Hu promised him. Says the Malbim Omer Dekazach. Ha'ezer Eloki. When Hakadosh Baruch Hu sends help for a person, it can send it in two different ways. Says the Ha'ezer Eloki could happen to a person in two different ways. First of all, he says, Ezer me'at. I mean, a bit. That won't be after. It has to be al pi derech hateva. You have to fight with the sword, becharbi or bekashti, with the sword and with the arrows. Mamish to fight the derech hateva. And Hakadosh Baruch Hu strengthened them, right? Hakadosh Baruch Hu is mechazek, chizku, ve'imtzu. Hakadosh Baruch Hu is mechazek them to fight with the derech hateva. And that we say, al yerech levavchem, kuno yisel lochem koyach lasos choyl. That is also, the Yehoshua gives us koyach, but that's more derech hateva. Then there's what the Mavi calls the Ezer Godoy, and they don't have to fight bechlal. Hashem ilochem lochem ve'atem tacharishu. It's a different target. You have to be. You just run around and collect the sholol, the booty. That's it. That's what you have to do. Now, Yehoshua sees a malach against the enemy. He would know that there would happen for them a big mess. He himself would fight for them. Only against he would come to collect. But now he sees over here in front of Yehoshua, sees in front of him a malach that comes, is fighting against them. So Yehoshua asked him, Halonu yato letzorenu. Halonu ato. You came only lonu for us. That means to be mechazek us, to fight for us. Oder im Letzorenu, if you came to fight with our Soinim. Im Letzorenu. That's our Soinim. That means with our Soinim to kill the Soinim, but we don't have to go Bechla. So the whole Letzorenu, it changes around. Yeah? Halonu ato, you with us to be mechazekos, to strengthen us. This Ezer Me'at is the man who calls it. Yeah, just to give us, a little bit the booster. To give us a boost. Or no, Letzorenu, you are going with our enemies. That means you're going to kill all our enemies, and we're just going to come to collect. And to feed them, we have to learn from the answer of the Malach that the Anoger of Klal Yisrael, Al Yidei Yehoshua was in Eretz Yisrael, to come to work with, right, with the Koyches HaTeva, and not to be Mevatel HaTeva in Ganseness. We learned that is Be'etzem going into Eretz Yisrael. That's the Bossi and Rashi. We see it comes to be Moitzi that the person cannot come and fight, and to be Toifes, and to be Mapil, everything. But in the times of Moshe Rabbeinu, then they had the Koyach. Right? That's what Rashi says. They had the Koyach. Now they didn't have the Koyach. That's what's the Atabossi. What's the Atabossi? Right? It says Rashi, Atabossi, Le'ezoschosh. Ein odom yochel le'ilochim oleu le'toisel api lachoyma. Al Moshe Rabcho Bossi ve'lo yichovet mishalei barim ein ponecho oilchim. That means now you do need something what we didn't have in the times of Yehoshua. The Radak explained because Yehoshua had the Sofek. If he is a Malach, so he says, Atabossi. Now when you see me, Masha'enken, Boss of Adam, that you cannot come suddenly and see him. The Gemara in Megillah, and Daf Gimel or Medalev, the Gemara teaches us that the Malach came to give him Musa. He tells him, Emesh bitaltem tomit shel bein ha'arbaim, ve'achshov bitaltem Talmud Torah. Al heize men bosa. That means Azoi. Every day, as we explained before, they would go out to battle and come back before the time of Akoras Ben Arbaim, to learn Torah. That day, they came back too late. They didn't learn the Torah. They didn't do the call. So he asked them, Alonu Ado im lo Tzorenu. He answers, Atobossi. I came now. On what? On the Bittul Torah. Straight away, we will see later on the Kapitel Ches, Vayolen Yehoshua balayla ahu b'soifoim ekom ha'avichor melamed shelon be'umko shel aloch. Straight away, he sat down to them. So he explains what's the pshat and the shaila. Halonu ato. Did you come because Talmud Torah b'shteit Torah tziva lonu? Did you come because the lonu Torah tziva lonu? Or im letzorenu? Did you come because tzorenu? What is the making on us from the tzoras? We protected from the tzoras because the korbanos, and that's what he said. Atabossi. What's atabossi? On Talmud Torah came b'shteit ve'ato kisvu lochem es ashira azos. Now, why the Malach didn't answer him? No, I didn't come on the Lonu. I came on the Letzorenu. I didn't come on the Letzorenu. I came on the Lonu. What's the Atabossi? I asked him, did you come on Lonu because we mevatel Talmud Torah Tziva Lonu? Or you came on the Letzorenu because mevatel the Kom will protect us from the Tzoras? What's the Ato? And this is a very famous vote in the Pon of Yisharon, where he says, what do you want from the Bittul Torah? Now they're learning in the Milchome. They're in the middle of Milchome, they're in the middle of a siege against the enemies. They are busy with the Milchome. What's about the thing? Just what? Divrei Torah has to be Zmirois Oyu Lichukecha. Has to be always in a matter of Zmirois Oyu Lichukecha. Like it says Shira, right? Like a Shira. That's Moshe Chesanev. It has to be on the. Has to be that the person fakert has to right. Velokach it brings the pasuk of the Shmuel. Velokach David Zakino venigem beyodoi verovach. Right? Lisho vetoilo vesovo meolov ruach haro. That means the same thing has to be. This says the Pon of Yisrael when you learn Torah. Tiras Hashem temimo meshivas nofesh pikuda Hashem yeshorim mesamchei lev. And that's what the Malach says. You learn Torah. That's right. But you know what my taina is not because you're learning Torah or not. Yeshua ben Nun asked him, Halonu ato. Did you come because of Torah tziva lonu? Or letzorenu, did you come because of korbanos what we didn't protect? He said, Ato. I'm answering, you know why I came? Because the Ato kisvu lochem es ashira azois. You have to learn Torah mitoich simcha. And I'm coming to the taina is the Ato kisvu lochem es ashira azois. And that's the chat in the psukim over here. Okay? We're going to stop over here. I'm going to go. But Hashem next week, and you'll see the capital Vav.